Hi everyone, this is Rano, and today I am here to give you a rundown of the road to the 2023 Super Bowl. Now, of course, this Super Bowl is it's been let's start off first by saying that this year has been a wild year. Some of these teams in the playoffs are teams I did not expect to make it in the playoffs starting from last year, but they had a tremendous uprise to this year, and maybe we can see these teams do the same the next year coming for 2024. But this 2022 season contained a lot of electrifying plays from every single one of these teams. So we're going to start off by labeling each team down here. We start off with our number one seeds on both sides, which are the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC and the Philadelphia Eagles for the NFC. Now we're going to start with the AFC, and we'll work to the NFC. So starting with the NFC or AFC, the second seed team in that division or in that conference are the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are a pretty confident team. I'm pretty sure I want to see a lot from the Bills this playoff. Their first matchup is against the Miami Dolphins, who are the seventh seed in the AFC. And personally, I do think that this is an easy takeaway for the Bills. The Bills can get this easily. It's going to be too easy, in my opinion. But I shouldn't just be saying that. I should probably be saying just don't underestimate the Dolphins. The Dolphins are probably, well known for what they do. But if they don't play Tua and they don't have Tua, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be the end of their season right here. We move on to our third seed versus our sixth seed, and we have the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Baltimore Ravens. Mind you, these two teams play in the same division. These two teams have been doing some business, but the Ravens had an off season last year. They did not do too well, but they're back here again to prove that they still have business to take care of. Bengals are back again as well, and they made a great run for it. And I think that this season in of itself is going to show that we're going to have to see a lot from Joe Burrow in this playoff. I want to see a lot more from this man. He has a lot to prove. I think that the Bengals are probably going to move on from the Ravens. They might take this win, so I have Cincinnati over Baltimore for this game. And our final AFC matchup for the wild card is the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the LA Chargers. The Chargers are a tough team, no doubt. They actually had a great season. It was very slow, but then in the middle it was pretty rough, but they started ending it off with a pretty solid note. The Jacksonville Jaguars, though, it really wasn't a good season for them, to really be honest. I mean, we have to take their division into, consideration here. They are in one of the weakest divisions in the league, if not the weakest, with the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts both having, terrible seasons, tying in the first week, and then Houston's, they have, 3 wins? Yeah, they have, 3 wins or something. So they're 3-12. Well, 3. Trying to think here. 3-13-1. Colts are 4-12-1. So yeah, no, it wasn't a good season for them. The Titans and the Jags were the final two teams to, come up and take the win. And I do think that the Jags, they were the better team in this case. I have to take the Jags over the Titans. But taking the Jags over the Chargers seems like a big step up, and I'm not trying to take that. But I am going to say this. I do want the Jags to win. I want to see the Jags move forward. This is the first time in a while we've seen the Jacksonville Jaguars do this good. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. I might have Jacksonville over the Chargers. I might have Jacksonville over the Chargers just because I want to see the Chargers go, or the Jags go. But I do want to see the Chargers also go. So it's kind of a hard thing here, but I do know that the Chargers are probably going to win. So that's that. Moving on to our AFC matchup. And the AFC matchup, and on this side, is a little bit harder. So we're going to go into our division captains, which are the first 3, which is second, third, and fourth seed. So our second seed are the 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers, and I think this team in of itself, they did very, very good. They pulled up, they hit it solid, and I mean, starting Brock Purdy was a big risky deal, but hey, get away with it, man. You got to do what you got to do. Next, we have the Minnesota Vikings. My personal favorite for the NFC, by the way. I think that the Minnesota Vikings do have a lot to prove. This is probably one of my favorite teams coming this season, other than me being a Falcons fan. I mean, this is my favorite team regardless. I'm going to have to say that the Vikings probably have a chance here, but it's against another tough team. But we're going to go against the bottom 3 seeds in a minute, so we'll get to that in a second there. Next, we have our last team, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm going to go ahead and say this now. Tampa Bay fans, you guys had one of, if not the worst seasons probably with Brady. I mean, Brady has probably had his worst season going to a playoff, and I don't even have high hopes for Brady at this point. You might say, well, you hate Brady. I mean, hey, he's in your division. No wonder why. No. Not only that, it's just the fact of just Brady hasn't been playing well all season. He lost to the you saw the game against the Panthers. He was very off in that game. Everything this season that he's been doing was just very off. Everything was just revolving around him, revolving around certain outside things. I think we all know what those outside things are. If not, I'll cover that in a little while. But I am going to say this, is that the Buccaneers, they have a little bit of just they're not the best here right now. I'm gonna just let that slide. They're not the best here right now. Our next team, the 5th seed, who is going to face off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, are the Dallas Cowboys. A week 1 rematch, basically, between these two, and I do have the Dallas Cowboys in this one. I usually do not like the Cowboys, but I don't like Brady more, so I'm taking the Cowboys. But I mean, you got to really look at it, man. Brady is not the best quarterback this year. He's actually he's very much at the bottom. I could name 20 more quarterbacks not 20. I'm thinking of another quarterback. Sorry, I can think of about like maybe 5 or 6 more quarterbacks who are probably trash in probably their whole career, but did so much better than Brady this entire season. Pretty sure probably most of us can. The New York Giants are the 6th seed in the NFC, and this is another team that I think also did pretty well. The Giants landed a pretty good, solid deal here, and I do think that this was a absolute bomb that they did. They bombed bombed in a good way. I don't think bombing is initially good, but you know what I'm saying. The Giants absolutely did great this season. Coach Brian Daboll coming in, he proved that there was something in Daniel Jones. And he brought that out. And on top of that, Saquon was killing it all season, bro. Defense, Kayvon Thibodeau. Oh my God, this team has potential, but their opponent being the Minnesota Vikings, I don't think they're gonna get past it. But it's nothing to be very, very tight on. I do think that there is gonna be something here that we can look on. So personally, I'm gonna have to take the Minnesota Vikings in that matchup. I'm going to just have to be straight with you, straightforward. I'm going to have to take the Minnesota Vikings. Finally, we have the biggest... Okay, before I get to this team is a team that I didn't even think would make the playoffs. And when I saw that they had a solid chance of making the playoffs, after my Falcons got out, I was cheering for mainly them, man. They were one of those teams I was cheering for to prove that they have worth. And this is how you know that the team that traded for the quarterback, that you already know who this team is, if I'm saying quarterback. This team absolutely annihilated. They did so good. I love this team. They did super, super good. The Seattle Seahawks are the 7th seed in the NFC. And, I mean, what else is there to say, man? The Seattle Seahawks did the best they can, and they came up with it, man. They came up with good games. They did so good that they did better than the Denver Broncos, who traded for Russell Wilson. And, you know, that trade, in my opinion, initially went bad. It was the worst trade that I could possibly say happened that season. You could argue and say that there have been worse trades, but, man, that trade itself was terrible. But, hey, I'm going to take it right here. I think the Seattle Seahawks, they're going to be a tough opponent for the Niners. And the Niners, they might be good, but, man, it's going to be tough. All right, so let's go back and look. So we have, which, by the way, I forgot to explain this. The Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins are also they're division rivals. And the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers are divisional rivals. So we have not 1, not 2, but we have 3 divisional rival games in the wild card round. Now, moving on from there, we're going to have a few more teams coming in to show some business. So here we are coming in. We have the Chargers at the top here. I'm going to have to take the Chargers over the Jags. We have the Ravens and the Bengals. I'm taking the Bengals over the Ravens, and I'm taking the Bills over the Dolphins. Then for the NFC, I'm taking Cowboys over Bucks, Vikings over Giants, and I'm gonna take Seahawks over Niners. Now, if any of y'all disagree with what I've said so far, go ahead. But if I'm not wrong, and if I'm correct on how this might play out, Chargers, Bengals, and Bills win. That means Bills and Bengals will play, and then the Chargers and Chiefs will play. And if I'm right on this as well, if the Seahawks, Cowboys, and Vikings win, the Vikings and Cowboys will play, and the Seahawks and Eagles will play. All right. So overall, I do want to say that this has been a great season, though, for a lot of teams. And later on, down the road, after the Super Bowl, I'll be doing a recap over every single NFL team from, starting from Chicago, ending all the way to Minnesota. I'm not even joking. It's going to be a crazy, crazy video. It's going to take me a while, I know. I'm still gathering information from every team. I'm trying to gather what I can. But knowing what I can find from every team, that video is I'm going to try to get that video out as fast as I possibly can. So if you guys like this video, please hit that like button down below, and don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. It doesn't hurt you to hit it. It might fight back, but you can hit it as hard as you can to make sure it won't hit you back. Anyway, that's all I have for y'all.